Hi world, I'm back. I'm back from playing and I decided to do a recap today, even though of course I was very tired just after the match with Antoaneta Stefanova I played today. Today was the day of the start of the FIDE and chess.com Women's Speed Chess Championship 2022 for me. And as I already said, I played against Antoaneta Stefanova from Bulgaria, also a former Women's World Chess Champion. It was a very interesting and a very tense match, and I decided that it might be interesting, right, to do a recap and to go over my games and like key moments. Of course, I will not be analyzing all 26 games we played today. It was a long match, but nevertheless, many interesting games, and there were some games that I really enjoyed. So let's see. I also, while doing recap, I hope that chess.com will not be against using the video of this match. I will not be against it, but maybe it's not that bad, no? Let me know if you want to see our reactions with Antoaneta for the games. You will see us playing. And it's a video from the official broadcast. Let me just, yeah, does it look nice? Let me know if it looks nice. Let me know if it looks nice, if it looks okay. So the first game. Yeah, good. No time to be scared during the matches, right? No time to be scared. Okay. Okay, I think we can start. So the match itself, as every single match of this Women's Speed Chess Championship, is divided into three segments. It's divided into three segments. The first one, the longest one, is 90 minutes long, 5 minutes plus 1 second per each game for each participant. Then there is a 5-minute break, and the second segment is 60 minutes long, 3 minutes plus 1 second, and then again 5 minutes break, and the final segment of 30 minutes, but plain bullet. Although, as we call it, sometimes a lazy bullet, meaning that even though it's a 1-minute game, but you still get this 1 second increment, which is, of course, completely different compared to 1-all games. Okay, let's start from the first game. I will go fast. Okay, the first game I played badly. Antoaneta opted for the so-called Stanitz defense, modern Stanitz defense, or in Russian we call it improved Stanitz defense, because this move a6, this moves a6, bishop a4 are included. And I decided, well, I thought for quite a long time in the opening. I played c4. Of course, it's not the only move. Of course, d5 seems to be quite logical, and this setup I played during in later games. But here, I don't know, I decided to wait what my opponent will do. And I didn't, I mean, here I misplayed completely. d5 was not still, it was possible still to play d5, and probably it wouldn't be that bad. But somehow, I don't know why, but I played h3, and of course h3 is a blunder. Is a blunder, quite a serious one, because after take, Antoaneta could have taken the knight, and then play bishop f6, bishop c3. I mean, many pieces are hanging. So she started with a different move order, and okay, at least I didn't lose a piece, no, not even a pawn, but my position was worse. But then, I mean, just one particular moment that just indicates that I hadn't waken up yet at this during this game. I played king f1, imagining myself being Dinklage, I think. Recording candidates, too much recording of candidates recaps, indeed. King to f1. I mean, come on, what kind of move it is? Of course, rook to b1, preparing b3 seems to be more logical, but why did I play king f1? Because I didn't know what to do after c6 here. And I didn't see that I can just retreat my queen and take on b4 in case she takes. So because of that, I played king to f1. But then after making this move, I realized that after c6, I cannot really play queen to d4 anyway, because knight f3 will come, I mean, with no check, but with a double attack. Anyway, I played queen to d1, lost the pawn, but somehow managed to win this game. And of course, it's quite surprising that I won this game nevertheless, because it was, I mean, it's quite important to start well. And when I say start well, I mean win your first game, especially if you're in such a hopeless position. The position is completely hopeless. A pawn down, but worse position. I don't know why Antoaneta decided to sacrifice the pawn back. She could have improved her position somehow instead. And then, okay. This endgame was already okay. Although it's not that okay. Yeah, I played bishop. Yeah, I blundered. I think here, for the moment, I was very happy about my position, but rook takes d5 is a threat. That's why I played queen to d3. And yeah, Antoaneta played rook c8, and I was disappointed that I lost back this pawn. But in fact, I could have played h5. Of course, I didn't see this idea. Anyway, I played bishop f4, and again, my position became worse, but I have this hope. This passed pawn is my hope. And somehow it managed to win the game almost. So f3, preparing rook e4, because there is no other way I can stop this rook if it goes to d4. But she had to play rook d4 anyway. Rook d4, and if I play rook e4, rook d5, just behind this pass, I mean, just perfect position, stopping the d6 pawn and supporting the d3 pawn. Yeah. Okay, instead, for some reason, Antoaneta played h6, rook e4, rook c2, and here I missed a chance. I felt that there is a possibility, there is some kind of, something is in the air, but I didn't see the strongest move here. Here is a moment that I missed. The moment that I missed. Tritonaice. Thank you for subscription. I didn't hear it. I have to switch on. Yeah. So white to move. What would you play? What did I miss? What did I miss? Yeah, rook d4 indeed. Rook d4 here is the best move in this position. Also quite a beautiful one. It's all about placing the rook to d4, right? Yeah, but I didn't see it. Yeah. And I played bishop takes d2. And we reached drawish endgame. again, I mean, the position is equal, but for some reason we continued to play on. And what happened? What happened next? Yeah, Antoaneta misplayed. I mean, g5. No need to play g5. She could have just stay. g5 is a mistake. And f6 already is a blunder. f6 is a blunder. Because she loses, well, this pawn, but what is worse is her bishop is so badly placed. And yeah, after so many ups and downs, I managed to win this game. Although we played on for quite some time, and yeah, and I was not happy about my technique. I was not happy at all. I think I missed something. Yeah, she could have sacrificed her bishop at one point. Here, rook h6 and a6 seems to be stronger, but since it was played on seconds, she could have taken on a5 and yeah, suffer for 50 moves, but at least it's a drawn endgame, right? It's a rook and bishop versus rook is a theoretical draw, although making this draw on seconds is quite hard, so I can understand why Antoaneta didn't take on a5, but she didn't take on a5, and I improved my position, and the pawn just got promoted. So quite a nervous game, quite a nervous start, and that's after this game I didn't have time somehow to recuperate, I don't know, to get back, and I lost the second one terribly out of the opening. It was a Catalan with bishop g7, quite a rare line, but I misplayed it. I don't know why I didn't take on d4. I mean, later in the match I took on d4 twice, and of course I have to take. I played bishop e7. Okay, and yeah, here it was the last chance to take. Suddenly I played queen to b6. I forgot about her idea to play e4, and after e4 my position is very unpleasant already. I have to take anyway here, but it's a big advantage for white, and instead I just played rook f2e8, preparing for d5. Well, in fact I didn't quite prepare, because she played d5 anyway and my bishop just got trapped. And well, since I was in such a shock, I continued to play on, but I lost this game at the end. Quite a bad game, to tell you the truth. So the third game, black won, yeah, but it was a pity because I think I had a good position. Okay, let's see what happened. Also, this modern Steinitz defense. This time I played d4 and c3, and used the plan. Sometimes I've seen this plan somewhere in some lines where when this knight gets to g6, it's always tempting to prepare h4, h5. So I played g3, h4, and I liked my position very much at some point. Okay, maybe not straight after the opening. Bishop g4 is a mistake, according to the computer. She had to play knight a5. Because after bishop g4, I have a very strong move that I didn't make. Of course, I didn't even consider this move. Let me fast forward the video. So the score is the same. So it's 1-1. Yeah, 1-1 after two games. The score was 1-1. Okay, and this is one the key position, one of the key positions of this third game, where I had a chance to play quite strongly, but I missed it. I missed this chance. I had to play h5 with the idea after bishop takes h5 to take on e5. Well, quite a beautiful combination, but of course not so easy to notice in a blitz game. Even in a classical game might escape from your view, because the idea is that if black retreats her knight, then she cannot castle. So I can play a4, and then I can even take, and have a very good position. And yeah, again, I can take with, actually I should take with a knight, because if I take with this pawn, apparently she has queen b6, and the position is not clear at all, because this pawn is on prise. I have weak white squares, and she has a very strong compensation apparently. But in the game I played a4, I took on b5 again. h5 is in the air, but again I didn't really see it, and I was still happy about my position. I was only hoping that this bishop is not going to be trapped again. That's why I played queen e2. Yeah, I was worried that my queen is too far away. That was that's my only concern was here at this point. But somehow, okay, little by little, I managed to improve my position, and the position became winning. So let's see. B takes a3 with the idea to play a4 and to win those pawns. a4, and yeah, here I have a huge advantage, like almost winning, and I lost at the end. What to do? Okay, let's see how it happened. Well, here the computer suggests all the time knight h2 and rook takes a4. Of course, knight h2 at this point I didn't consider this move. I was looking to e5, to d2, and not to h2. I played bishop b4, e4, a knight to d2, and yeah, I missed bishop takes e3, a very strong move, which was completely missed by me. But okay, still have a better position. No reason to lose, definitely. Knight to d6, not the best move. Knight to e3, according to the computer, and then trying to get those pawns. Okay, and here for some reason king to h3 had to be played, so my king is not in the checkmating net after knight f3, but I played king to f1. But anyway, why did I lose this endgame? I had to take on a4. Here I had to take on a4. Picking up the exchange, you mean here? If I take on f8, it was possible, but then knight takes e3. I don't know, I mean, it was possible. Maybe it was even easier than what I chose in the game, but I just thought that after e takes d5, my position is completely winning. And that's why I made this move even without calculating bishop takes f8. And actually I have a huge advantage here, indeed. But somehow it became, I mean, for some reason it didn't work out for me. I had to move away this knight. And yeah, so I gave away all my advantage. I had to take on a4. I think it was just easier to be safer. And here again, I mean, I had to stop playing for a win at some point. I had to take, exchange, and agree on a draw. Instead, rook d7 is a terrible move. Why to put your rook? I didn't want to play d6 because, I mean, I like the fact that my pawn kind of keeps this knight on the edge, and I kept insisting having this pawn on d5. Instead, by the way, I could have played like this. And then she has knight c6 trick. Well, still a draw after and take. But rook d7 is a very bad move. I had to take on a4, of course. So I kept playing for a win. And here knight e6 was, I think, a very good possibility. I had, yeah, knight c5 back and just agree on a draw. But for some reason, yeah, I wanted to win because my position was so much better at some point that I kept insisting. And at the end, yeah, the a2 pawn became too strong and too powerful. This position still can be held after rook c7, but king c2 is already The final mistake. Okay, did I have any? No. Ah, yeah, that is the game where I started blundering forks. I mean, I played king to c4, Antoaneta played knight e5, I played king to d5, and only when she took on d7 I realized that she took my rook. And then the second rook was gone as well with the fork. Well, not the best game, definitely. And the score became 2-1. 1-2, in fact. 1-2 in Antoaneta's favor. Was it the only time in the match when she was leading? Was it the only time in the match? So, yeah, I think that was the only time in the match when Antoaneta was leading, because I started poorly. Okay, let's see game number 4. What happened there? It was another Catalan opening. Here I improved my play. I realized that in order not to lose my bishop on c6, I have to take on d4 earlier, but didn't quite get that I can start with taking on d4. So I played bishop e7, and then I took on d4. It's possible, but it's just less precise than taking immediately. Okay, but still, the position was okay, I believe. No, it was quite shaky, because she played e4, and this e5 move is threatening all the time. So I was worried, but yeah, I was very happy how I calculated everything, and I spent a lot of time at some point in this endgame, and I managed to find a way to save the game. So let me show you. So yeah, this is a situation where it feels that I should be okay, but I should, do something about this pawn. And also she has this f5 idea, which is a little bit annoying, because she kind of distracts the pawn on e6, which protects the knight on d5. And I played rook a to b8 because I didn't want to play b6 because of knight c6. Although the computer doesn't mind this exchange, saying that my knight on d5 is such a beautiful knight. And we can recall yesterday's game between Firuja and Nakamura with his wonderful knight on d5. And that's exactly the point. Yeah, I think that was just easier, much easier to play like this. Instead, I played rook a to b8. Antoaneta played king f3, yeah, and I made a bad move. I think I had to play g6. I had to stop. Although, after g6, what would happen if she plays g4? She still has these ideas. Okay, anyway, I played king f8, and after f5, my position started to be quite shaky, because this pawn is hanging. What to do? I took. And now all those rook d3 idea, my knight on d5 is not supported by my pawn anymore, and I was very happy about the way I played here, really, because I had 1 minute 50 seconds on the clock, and I managed to calculate quite a tricky line almost till the very end. So b6, but at first I didn't like it, because I saw that rook d3 and rook d7 will be coming. But here I managed to find a nice trick. So knight c6, this pawn is hanging, and after king e4, rook e8 suddenly, trying to put pressure on e5. Rook c7, and rook c7 suddenly doesn't win. And actually here I could have played knight takes e5. I didn't realize that, because if she takes, and she loses the game, because it's such a beautiful combination. How do I win here? Wow. It's just 2 pieces are lost. Wow. Okay. Very beautiful line. But I used the same, similar ideas. But, so knight takes e5 I didn't see. Alas. I played bishop f6. And I calculated the lines that happened in the game, that I win back this knight. And, well, that should be equal. But somehow I was so happy about my performance that I misplayed again. That happens. That happens. Why didn't I give a check? Why didn't I give a check and play g4? I played rook e8. Okay. I wanted to give a checkmate somewhere. Why didn't I play rook b4? Somehow slipped away from my... I didn't see rook b4. Why didn't I play rook e7? I mean, okay, it's the game, I mean, the play on seconds is already quite hard to commentate. So I lost the pawn on a7 again, and my position became, well, still holdable, but it's always unpleasant to defend pawn down endgames. But I think I managed to do it decently. For some reason I didn't take on d6. I didn't know how to evaluate, I think, this position. I was not sure. What did I miss? I missed the fact that I can just take the pawn on g4. Okay. Yeah, and the position actually became lost. Yeah, I see. I had to take on d6. Because here I'm lost. And how did I manage to survive? Played bishop e5. King takes b5 would have been a little bit easier. Yeah, I managed somehow to blockade these two pawns. How did I manage to do that? I have no idea, because this position is completely hopeless. It's just a 1-0 type of position. 1-0. So I was on the verge to be losing the match 1-3, right? But somehow, miraculously, it's a completely lost position. Okay, king b5 and just... Okay, what happened? Okay, Antoaneta decided to take this pawn. Okay, well, still winning. I think keeping the pawn on a2 actually was not such a bad idea, because it keeps this square protected if the king goes to b5. But anyway, it should be completely winning anyway. What is the easiest way for white to win here? g5, okay. g6. Okay. Yeah, just take and give a check. King a6 is not possible due to rook a7 checkmate. And if I'm not able to blockade the pawns, it's completely winning any game. But here, you see, some problems started to appear. And what is the evaluation? The computer shows that it's still winning. During the game, I thought that since let me check with table base. So the king is on b4, the pawn's on a5. My king went to b7. Her rook is on e3, and I have the rook on the 7th rank. Yeah, it's winning. It's completely winning. Okay. She just has to go. What is the plan? Probably just somehow... Okay, if she plays king e5, let me stay. Okay, if I play king b7. Okay, I wait. And king c5. And if I give a check, then rook d5, king b5. Okay, and if I stay, then... that's a win. Okay, I see. That's how it was won. Okay, good to know. Good to know how to break through. That's how it was winning. But Antoaneta didn't manage to find it here, and somehow I was so sure it should be a draw. Good for me. Sometimes if you're sure about the result happens. And it's still completely lost. Why was I so sure that it's a draw? king a8, and then b7. I mean, and if I take, then rook c6. Okay, but I held it quite easily. Okay, she blundered this pawns, and it was a draw. Okay, a lucky save. A lucky save. Why did it stop? Why did it stop? So the score became 2.5 to 1.5. Let's see next games. 1, 2, 3. Okay, my win. Let's see. It's another one. It's another Italian, another Jacopiana, and I know that you're looking forward to my video course on chess.com on Not So Quiet Italian. And because this is a game, definitely I should add it to this course. I should add it to this course. And this is a game I want to... I think it's one of the best games that I played. Why the score is still the... Okay. Okay. So, let's see. Another very nice victory in my pet line of the Italian. And let's see how the game continued. e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6. And after playing so many times with Antoaneta in this match, bishop b5, I decided to switch a little bit and try bishop c4 move instead. Antoaneta played bishop c5, and of course I could not resist. I decided to check out what Antoaneta has in mind after the c3, knight f6, and d4. Not so quiet Italian. E takes d4, c takes d4, bishop b4, knight b2 d2. That's the line that I've been using. Oh my gosh, time flies, for the last 4 months, and quite successfully, I must say. Of course, it's a tricky line to use in rapid and blitz games. Knight takes e4 is one of the main moves. d5 is another alternative that I think is the easiest way to play for black if you don't want to memorize all those tricky lines. But definitely knight takes e4 is possible. A wise idea here to play d5, and after knight e7, castle, and long theoretical lines, maybe not so long, is starting. Knight takes d2. Antoaneta took on d2 with the knight, and it's another possibility. So knight e7 is one option, knight takes d2 is another, bishop takes d2 is a third option, which I don't like, because white gives away a pair of bishops, and meaning that white is going to play with a pawn down, but they will always have a pair of bishop, which gives white some compensation. But it's also possible. Bishop takes d2. Okay, knight takes d2 is a good move. Bishop takes d2, and here the funny story starts. Actually, if you recall, a few days ago there was a bingo edition when streamers played against bots, and for some reason I decided to use this line against one of the bots. And this bot, he continued exactly in the same way. He took on d2 with the knight, and I was confused, and for some reason I took back with the knight. He gave a check, queen to e7 check, which is the strongest move in this position, and I ended up losing to this bot. And after the game, I said to myself, why did I end up in a bad position? What did I do wrong? And yeah, I realized that I had to take with the bishop on d2. And when I was analyzing this game with a bot, yeah, I know it's funny. It's funny analyzing games with against bots, but okay, people sometimes are crazy. I know. And so when I was analyzing this game against bots, I said to myself, okay, the main move, it keeps pausing this video. The main move here is bishop takes d2. But why black doesn't give a check on e7? What is going to happen after queen to e7 check? And that's exactly what Antoaneta did. But since I checked this line, since after this game with a bot, I knew that king to f1 is the right move. It's quite a hard move to find if you don't know this line. But since white is a pawn down, exchanging queens would be, of course, quite unpleasant. And I managed to make the strongest move. I knew it. Antoaneta played knight to a5, and this move, which I think 100% of people would play in the blitz game for sure, is a serious mistake because white can win here quite beautifully, but I missed this winning possibility. White plays and wins. You can pause this video or stream and try to figure out the way if you want just to watch it. And then I'm going to tell you the solution. I played bishop d3, which is the second strongest move in this position, but the strongest, the winning move, is d6. A brilliant move using the fact that this knight on a5 is very badly placed. And if she takes with the queen, then I give a check on e1. It's very important. And after queen takes e7, I take with the queen. And that's where this problem of this unprotected knight on a5 appears. So she cannot play, queen takes d6, but if, there is no really other move, right? C takes d6 is possible, but then I take knight to c4 and I play queen to d4, and just too many threats. She is not able to protect herself from all these ideas. But again, unfortunately, during the game, I didn't see this winning continuation. I played bishop d3 because I saw another idea which I couldn't resist. She castled, and my idea was connected with this sacrifice, which is also quite strong, but unfortunately I spoiled it a little bit. Knight g5 check, king g6, because after king g8, this famous checkmating pattern, so it's like a famous sacrifice on h7. King g6 is the only move, and here the strongest move was also pause the video and try to figure out the way on your own, and try to figure out this way. The winning continuation here was to play h4, which, of course, when you sacrifice a bishop and you play knight g5, you consider either queen g4 or h4. That's like the moves that follow this famous sacrifice on h7. But h4 was just too unbelievable for me, because I just didn't believe that after bishop takes d2, I can simply take on d2 and I'm winning. But again, I'm winning because of the fact that this knight is hanging. And rook e1, h5, just too many threats. For example, here, if I play rook e1, it seems that black just has to give up the queen, otherwise she's gonna be checkmated. Okay, let's show some brilliant Morphy-like checkmates. That was the way to finish the game. Unfortunately, I did not play h4. I played queen to g4, which is an okay move. It's not a winning move, but it's, well, The position is equal after this move if black plays the best move. And Antoaneta didn't manage to play the best move. She made a mistake. She played f5, and f5 leads to a worse endgame. Instead, she had to take on d2, and I saw this continuation. I thought that I was going to play knight e6, and if she plays bishop g5, I was going to take and play h4 and continue my attack. And indeed, white's position is okay here. But the computer says that after knight takes f8, king to h6 is the strongest move. Okay, well, it's too hard for a blitz game, and it's still, the position is about equal. In the game, after f5, my idea, and that's why I took on h7, because I calculated this whole line, was to take, and after rook e8, take on a5, she had to take here, I was going to take on c7, and I have a better endgame. But instead, she forgot that after b6, she forgot, I think, that I have an extra piece, or she didn't see bishop d2, and she simply blundered a piece. After bishop d2, the game continued for quite some time, but of course, I mean, I won this endgame quite easily, because yes, my rook is misplaced. I didn't have a chance to castle, but it's an endgame. It's an endgame, and little by little I managed to win, although, I mean, it took some time. I blundered a piece. I didn't have to play knight e5. Here the position is simply winning, and here I need to demonstrate some technique, but it's still a winning position. So a very nice game, which I liked very much, and another game to discuss during my not so quiet Italian course on chess.com that I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to seeing. It's about to be released this summer, hopefully soon. Okay, so let's get going, right? Let's get going. Let's see next games, because there were quite a few, 26 in total, and we're just at the game number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's fast forward. Okay, after struggling with Catalan, I decided to change the opening and played some Queen's Indian. Yeah, it was a tricky position. Somehow I thought that I had to play f5. Computer doesn't like it at all, so just to play c6 and then b5. A very complicated position, but I think, okay, I was worse, but then I was better, and here, of course, she had to play c5. C takes b5 is a big mistake, I think. And here I had to take on d5. Let me make this window a little bit smaller. So the window, oops, no, I mean a little bit, not a lot. Because otherwise the video just keeps pausing. Let me correct it a little bit. Because since I'm streaming on my laptop and not on my big, where is my board? Here's my board. Many obstacles. But I think we'll manage, right? We should be able to manage to overcome those obstacles. So here bishop takes d5, yes, was the strongest option. Let me fast forward. Not sure why they're showing. So 2.5 to 2.5, right? The score, the current score where we are at. And what happened next? Okay, so bishop takes d5, yeah, but I didn't take here. And what happened? I already forgot what happened in this game. Right. Here I was so disappointed because I made this rook a8 move and just realizing that I could have played rook b8. rook b8, rook takes b5, and the game is practically over. She has such a bad bishop on a1, and for some reason I decided to win this bishop, but after rook d1, the game is starting all over again. Okay, misplayed here completely. I blundered bishop takes e5, and the position became, okay, equal, then worse, and, okay, those, maybe not so worse, but yeah, definitely not winning, and playing on seconds, and, yeah, here I was losing, yeah, here I was losing for a moment, for a very short moment, because she could have played g7 and rook h8, but okay, she played bishop e7, and my king was just in time, and my rook was just in time, and yeah, here I set up a deadly trap. I was so happy. I set up a deadly trap because actually I'm not, I mean, okay, I'm trying to exchange these rooks, but in fact, if she goes away, this pawn is pinned. And she blundered this bishop, and I managed to win this game. But yeah, many ups and downs in this game. And the score became 3.5 to 2.5. And what was that in the next game? In the next game, I tried to play another Italian, but Antoaneta played knight f6. So impossible to play c3 d4 here, c3 d4 here. So yeah, we just went to this quiet Italian game, but a very sharp line. A very sharp line with bishop g5, h6, g5. Very complicated game. I like it a lot, but it requires very serious analysis, and of course I will not be going over this game because it can take a few hours, and we have a few dozens of games to go over. But okay, my idea was to close this bishop. Antoaneta didn't let me do that for quite some time, and at some point I had a possibility to break through in the center, but I managed to, yeah, I played it here. It's not like the best moment, but okay, just very, very complicated Italian game. I had to take on e6 here. I started with bishop takes e4, then after bishop a5 it's about equal, but bishop takes e4 is a mistake. And at the end, okay, at the end, yeah, I managed to win here quite nicely. And again, f3, I enjoyed this move very much because I'm stopping her knight from going to the center. And yeah, I managed to win because she just forfeited on time. Not quite an unpleasant endgame anyway to play on seconds. And a nice game. The games that I enjoyed, but again, it's a very, very complicated game to analyze it deeply during a recap. So, про призовой фонд скажу, когда закончу про партии говорить. Раз, два, три, четыре, пять, шесть, семь. Okay, so I was leading after this victory, I was leading 4.5 to 2.5, right? And let's see another game. That was the last game of this segment. I remind you that the first segment was 90 minutes of 5+1 games. Oops. No. Okay. Here we go. What was there? Let's see what was in this draw. Queen's Indian defense. Again. Yeah, and this modern line with h4, which strong computer suggests. I played knight e4, and yeah, I was a little bit worse here, but I was happy. During the game, I was happy. I I mean, I knew that the position is quite tricky, but I sacrificed this pawn correctly, of course. And here I didn't have to play g5. I think knight d5 was possible. But okay, I played g5 because I was... again, I was very happy about my position, although it's worse a little bit. But I have some compensation. Which could... Yeah, I played queen a3, and this is actually almost losing, but it was quite difficult to play rook e1 here because of rook e1, which I didn't even consider. But the problem that I have, well, I was going to take on c3, and of course it's just impossible to play king f1 here. Why? Why is it so strong? Because queen a8 is a threat. And otherwise, if I go away with my knight, this is apparently a very strong position for white, because the pawn is hanging and the side pawn is very dangerous. But it's just impossible to play like this. So rook f1 was played. And I was so unhappy here with my knight takes c3. I was very unhappy. Because, no. With knight c3 I was happy. No, with knight e2 check I was unhappy. Because I said queen to e7 first I had to play. Because with the knight on c3 there is no queen d5, no queen b5. And if she plays queen f5, it's completely different story. I'm almost winning here. And instead I played queen knight to e2, and here after queen e7 she can check, she can take on b5, she can do anything she wants. And yeah, the position became almost lost. Luckily for me, I didn't realize it. I played for a checkmate here. I was so disappointed that at some point she defended and exchanged the queens. This position is lost. But somehow I managed to survive. I don't know how, because with this side passed pawn, it looks completely lost, this position. How did I manage to save it? f4, okay. She thought that otherwise rook a1, but rook a1 seems to be strong even. Okay, but she played f4. Still should be winning. How did I manage to survive? Yeah, well, after knight b3 it's losing for sure. Okay. Well, rook b6 is more precise, but okay. Maybe the easiest was just to give a check and take on h6. Because somehow I'll take on h6 here and play knight c6. Still. Ah, yeah, I remember. Now I remember. She just blundered. Why did she play knight b4? She thought that her knight is under attack, but it's not. She can simply go with her pawn. Anyway, it was a lost endgame. Oop, you see Antoaneta. But, okay, we managed to make a draw. And it was the end of the first part. And the prizes. Let's check the prizes. What do they have? I think in this article it's indicated. The prizes are indicated. Let's see the prizes for Women's Chess Championship. The prizes. I will find out the prizes as well with you. So, round of 16. The winner prize is $1,250. And the rest is split according to the percentage of a match. Let me make this window bigger so we can, yeah. So that's the prizes. That are the prizes. So round of 16, it's 1,250 to winner, and then the rest of this prize fund of every match is divided according to the percentage of the match. Where please? Hey, I need to just upload this to screenshot. Hey, now I will not be able to find it. Come on. Yep, I'm gonna pause it. And then in the quarterfinals, it's the prize fund of each match is 4,000. Again, 2,000 going to winner, and another half divided by percentage. Then semifinals is is 8,000, and 4 to the winner, and then the rest is divided. And finals is 12,000. So not bad. Not bad if you play well. And of course, it's amazing that nowadays we can play such tournaments being at home. And actually, this whole tournament takes, if you get to the finals, 4 days. So you can win quite a few thousand just in 4 days. Okay, let's go on. Let's get going and get to the 3+1 stage, which I won with quite a big margin, because 5+1 segment was okay. I won it 5-3, but the segment 3+1 was won bigger, with a bigger margin. Okay, let's go on. So the first game was quite a nice game. I spoiled it a little bit, but otherwise I played very well in the opening. So it was a 2 knights opening, and I played d4, the line that I quite often use. E takes d4, e5, d5, bishop b5, like the old line that used to be the main line here. Yeah, and white's plan, yeah, is just to go forward. f3, f4, f5. And of course you need to exchange this knight, because this is the only active piece for black. That's why knight c3 is played. c5 is inaccuracy. I think knight takes c3 immediately is better. And here I had to take with the b pawn. I was hesitating. Yeah, I was going to take with the b pawn, but then I said to myself, well, why should I? Maybe taking with the knight, not damaging my structure, is also good enough. But it just gives black a few tempi to develop the bishop. But okay, I played queen to g4. I didn't like h5 during the game. And that's actually what she had to play. Because after g5, queen d5, I mean, her pieces are standing beautifully. Beautifully. And then she can play f6 if she wants to. Although I don't really like this move. Rook a8, bishop d6, I mean, many ideas. Very pleasant position for black. Instead, she took on e4, which I think is a mistake. Why to give up such a beautifully located bishop? And then she made the move which kind of... I couldn't believe my eyes. I mean, f6. Well, she was afraid that I would play f6. But after f6, e6, I thought, okay, I have forever this passed pawn. All endgames are just simply winning for me. Or almost winning. They seem to be winning. Anyway. But nevertheless, I decided to play for an attack. Even though all endgames are winning for me. And it was strong. And here I did not sacrifice. Why didn't I sacrifice? Because I didn't see that here I'm winning. Okay, let's see how. Okay, if she goes king g8, I play rook g4. But I thought that I didn't see what was going to happen here. And here, actually, also because of this pawn, queen h6. And if queen d4, which is the only move. Then unfortunately for black, I have... my pawns are too strong. And her pawn is not there yet. So after d3 I was winning, spoiled this chance. I took on d3 and played h3. I was happy anyway. And here I realized that all endgames should be winning and decided to exchange queens. Yeah, but for some reason I almost spoiled it. What happened? Why did I spoil everything? Let all my advantage slip away. Why? Where did it go to? Yeah, I had to play rook f2, f4. Well, it's not so easy, right? So yeah, gave away everything. But somehow still managed to put her rook into a bad position. And it's just so much easier to play on seconds with white. Yeah. And she went all in. And even though for some reason I didn't push my b pawn for quite a long time, I still managed to promote my pawns faster. I think I just had to, yeah, to play. No, it's a draw. How am I winning here? No, probably I played right. Okay. Anyway, somehow this endgame is winning. I'm just faster. I'm just faster than my opponent. Yeah, unfortunately for her, her king gets under this check. And I won. And I won. That was the first victory of the 3+1 segment. And so I was already leading 6-3, right? Let's fast forward it. Let's fast forward. Oops, not 7-3. What happened? Why did I win so fast? Ah, yeah, that was the game. That was the game in the London. And my next victory was a very fast one. I played a very good game in London. I mean, against London, which Antoaneta quite often plays, but I think I played a good game. Okay, c5, e3, knight c6. That's a line that I usually use against London, and here some trickiness begins. h6, not playing e6 immediately. Don't ask me why. a6, just not playing e6, and that's it. Knight e5, knight takes e5. I think bishop takes e5 would have been like more logical and stronger, because here after d takes e5 I just get to d7, and this pawn is weak, forever weak. Here I had I played well, and here I could have well, I didn't have to play g5, but okay, I decided that g7 square would be a nice square for my bishop. Played bishop g7 and took on g5 with the queen. And yes, here problems. It's a very difficult position for white already. After knight e2, I could have played knight c5 immediately, heading to d3. I realized it only after playing queen g6. Well, because after knight e2, I wanted to take on e5. So I was preparing my capture on e5. I played queen to g6. Then after f4, finally, I saw this square for my knight. And yeah, white is just completely lost. And here I missed a checkmate in 2. There was a checkmate alert, and I knew it was another very nice move, bishop f8, transferring my bishop to g1 a7 diagonal. And here's a checkmate alert. Puzzle rush. Puzzle rush alert. Which I missed. I takes e5 and queen e4 checkmate. But I saw the line was winning the queen. And it was good enough for me. Yeah, so it was 6-3, right? 7-3 already. 7-3. Another, yeah, nice win in London. Она хотела бы жить на Манхэттене. Okay, and a nice start of the 3+1 segment. I won 3 games in a row. And I won them quite nicely. That was another game that I enjoyed very much. There were many ups and downs in this game. I played the Ruy Lopez again. And but I enjoyed the final position so much, yeah. Otherwise, it was a difficult maneuvering Ruy Lopez battle. But just look at the final position. Oh, this poor bishop. What happened to this bishop? Not a single square it has. Enjoyed it. Enjoyed this domination a lot. So managed to win again. Managed to win again, and the score was already 8-3. Yeah, 8-3. So quite a big margin already. Let me get to the... Or 8-4? Why? No. 7-3. Okay. 7-3. And then I won, and it became 8-3, right? But then I lost another catalog, I think. I lost it quite fast because I misplaced it completely again. I misplayed it. What to do? Yeah, I lost it very fast. It was not the shortest game, but one of the shortest games of the match. Okay, same line, same position. This time I played well. But here, for some reason, okay, queen a5 is a little bit too optimistic. I think queen e7 is more solid, but it's still okay. Risky, but okay. But I had to castle. I mean, sooner or later. Why didn't I castle? Here I had to castle. Queen a6. The move that I will never understand. Okay, if I'm afraid of knight b5, I can play rook c8. The position is fine. The position is okay. I can castle. Queen a6 is a game over move. So I lost it. And the score became 8-4. Still leading quite quite surprisingly, right? Because at the beginning it was quite a tense match. But then I started this 3+1 section quite powerfully. Okay, let's see what happened after this terrible loss. A draw happened. What happened in this draw? Yeah, I had a good position. But here somehow I misplayed. I had to push this rook away by g3. But still, quite a good position. But then I misplayed a little bit and the position became equal. But I had just to wait. I had just to play rook e1, queen a6, I don't know. Instead I blundered. Instead I blundered a piece. And luckily Antoaneta didn't take it. And even though the position is still pretty unpleasant, I had to play queen d7, I think. So I blundered several times, but I managed to survive. After g4, it's not obvious. I mean, it shouldn't be possible to survive. She could have just played a3, a2, and with such a king, the game should be over. I mean, it is. Why didn't she play a3? Somehow I managed to get my rook behind this passed pawn and even tried to play for a win for a very short period of time. Okay, draw. Draw it is. Draw it is. And let's go. And then I had 3 more games, 3 more wins in a row. When was there? Ah, this Catalan I played whatever I could. I was worse a little bit, but then I managed somehow to get out of this bad position and yeah, found some counterplay. And yeah, this pawn that I pushed so far away made this game for me, because at the end it was the pawn that decided the game. Yeah, apparently the computer here suggests there's just going to be one and taking on a2, leaving the king all on his own. But of course it was quite scary, so I exchanged the queens first and then got to this pawn. And why the score is here still 9-4. (10-4), but we made a draw. Why the draw was not calculated? Why the draw was not calculated? Let me double check the score. 1. Ah, because it was already a second draw. Okay, I see. 9-5. Okay. Too many games. So I made the draw. This one we already discussed. Lost a little bit. Is it the game? It was, apparently it seems to be. I lost the score. This one I just commentated. That was the last game of this segment, yes. Yes, Antoaneta surprised me with this move of 6. I couldn't understand it. With this king. Just leaving this king on e8, even bishop b3 seems to be quite strong. But here I forgot that she can castle, but for some reason she didn't castle. She had twice in this game, she had the possibility to castle. Instead, she decided to stay in the center. Here she had to castle, I think. It was the last chance. Queen c6 is a big mistake. Okay, a very strange game, but I won it anyway. And so going to this bullet section, I was leading pretty comfortably. I was leading so score. Wait, this one was a draw. What happened? I lost everything. This one I won. So 10.5 to 11. 11-6 I was leading, or something like this. 11.5 to 5.5 I was leading. Okay. Quite a good margin to be leading with when there are only 30 minutes left to play. But in the last section, cannot say that I played very well. I was already very tired. And of course, it's very hard to commentate the bullet games. I will show you just a funny position. This game, I won in this game. Antoaneta ran out of time, but actually here is a draw. It's a draw, but I had to exchange and play d5, and it's a theoretical draw. I don't know very well those positions when 3 pawns hold against the rook, but this is a draw. Apparently I put my pawns in a chain and they just hold on together. I mean, hard to believe, right? But apparently there is no way to improve. Hard to believe. Very hard to believe, but yeah, the king just stays, and it's not possible to take because the pawns will go. Okay, but I won, luckily, of course, and then I lost almost 3 in a row. What happened there? Let's see. Okay, let's see the final seconds. I will make this window bigger so we can see the final seconds. It's all my emotions. What a game. Well, you saw it with your own eyes. Okay, and the score was 12.5 to 6.5. But yeah, it was certain point when it was a lot. And what happened here? Ah, yes, Antoaneta. She took on e4, and for some reason I didn't take on e5. Knight takes e4 is a bad move, but why didn't I take on e5? I castled like automatically. Well, because there is a line when black takes and plays knight e4. I think that's what she wanted to do, but she mixed up the move order, but somehow she mixed up in the way that I mixed up as well. And yeah, I ended up being a pawn down. Just simply a pawn down. Okay, some very bad game. Yeah, very bad game. So I lost this game quite fast and quite... wait, that's the game that I played white, but then I also played with black. King's Indian attack. That is, I think, the game on the screen. In this game I was winning. In this game I was winning, and I liked the way I played this game up to a certain point, but I made some very strange decisions. For example, here, why did I take with the rook, not with the pawn? So I was, yeah, I was winning several times. I had a very good position, but then, okay, again, very hard to commentate on what's going on seconds. Just will, yeah, here I think that was, yeah, my final mistake was to exchange queens. Why did I exchange queens? Getting into a lost endgame, I don't know. After queen h7, the position is completely unclear. Completely, and I think it's harder to play with white. Of course, if you're down in material, you should never exchange, well, not never, but you should not usually exchange queens. And here, queen h7, the game is in full action, and after queen to g4, it's almost lost. So it was a bad decision. It was a bad decision. And then, so I lost it again. And we played another Ruy Lopez. Yeah, which a nice trick, but after king e7 my position is worse, so I should not do that. I should castle probably here instead. And here I should play knight c3 or knight b to d2. And yeah, it's a nice trick, but here I didn't have to give up my piece. I could have played bishop b3, but here again I got a chance. Apparently she had to play e4 and king takes f7 with an extra piece. After e takes d4, I can play bishop h5. In a Morphy-like style. Okay, I played bishop takes d4, and here I also have some compensation after taking on f6. Of course, she cannot take with the queen because the rook is hanging, and here I'm a piece down, but her king is very open, and so I have a good compensation. It's easier to play. But of course, after bishop c3, it's not possible anymore after b3. Probably here is the last chance. It's the last chance to take and open up. Anyway, I lost this one as well. Or no, I didn't lose this one. Yes, that was an amazing thing. I managed to save this game somehow. Completely lost position. Yeah, but managed to save it quite easily. But lost the next one. What happened in the next one? Another Catalan, something. No, it was already. F takes g6. Yeah, I played badly. F takes g6 for some reason. But again, very hard to commentate on bullet portion. Then managed to get a good position. Then, yeah, sacrificed. Okay, played very strangely in the endgame. And, yeah, blundered a knight. Blundered my knight. And lost. And then I was so tired of this Ruy Lopez and Italians and two knights that I decided to play something else, and we ended up playing the symmetrical Grunfeld, which that was actually quite a good game, considering the fact that it's a bullet game. I played very well up to the point where I had a winning position, so everything I did great, cannot even improve it. And here, just the only thing, knight g5 is completely winning. Two threats at the same time. I played knight to d2, heading to e4, but knight g5 was just so much stronger. And here, when I played knight c5, I saw that I'm attacking something. I don't know what I'm attacking, but I completely misplayed. And here I had to lose, actually. The position is lost. e4 is winning. Example, but Antoaneta blundered. She played b6 and blundered, and I found the right way to play rook c7 and won this. Yeah, we're not really analyzing, Georgia, just finishing this recap, just going over the very last games. What was that? Trampovsky classical. Yeah, here I played very strangely, but I didn't take with h. I don't know why I didn't take with h pawn something, and lost this game again. But that was the last lost because that was a nice one. That was a miniature. What was the score? So what score did I win? 15.5. So 15.5. So the game after that. The game. So the score is right. I hear some noise, some pleasant noise. Thank you, Dirk G. Yeah, I'm finishing 2 last games, but I just want to show you. So we have the score set up correctly. Okay, how to win in 19 moves. How to win in 19 moves. I was so tired about those classical Ruy Lopez and Italian games, and said to myself that I can allow some crazy stuff to be played, since we are playing bullet after all. And I played the Danish Gambit. Well, Antoaneta didn't take the second pawn. She played c5. And I ended up actually in quite a good position, in a very pleasant endgame. I was very happy with the outcome of this Danish Gambit, to tell you the truth. So we exchanged queens, but I'm better developed. And it's an open position, meaning that, well, her king is in the center. I could have started by castling, but I played knight d6 by mistake. After king e7, I was going to take on b7, but then I realized that there is no way to go after that. After rook b8, my position is too bad. If I take, she takes with the bishop, and the pawn on g2 is hanging. And here I managed to find a very strong continuation. I played knight 2 to c4, and it's a bullet game. I managed to find it. It's like in less than 10 seconds. After a6, I took, and I castled. And her king is in danger. She had to play knight f6, although her position is still quite unpleasant, because after rook h2 e1, she would need to go back to f8. Instead, she played b5, but then my knights start to work very well. Knight e5, and here she blundered. Yeah. A checkmate. Well, the position is already very bad. Too bad, to tell you the truth. She played bishop takes g2, and the game ended with a beautiful knight checkmate. Yeah, that was a nice finish of the match. We still played one more game, which ended in a draw. After a threefold repetition. And I won the match with 15.5 to 10.5 score. Quite a tense match. I was very tired after that. But as I said, many interesting games and a lot of things to improve. And let's see what will be next for me in this tournament. This is the bracket of the tournament. And as you can see, we're just on the first stage of this tournament. Only 2 matches out of the first 8 have been played so far. Huifan and Carissa Yep, they were supposed to play last weekend, but the match got postponed. So I am going to play against the winner of the match, Huifan Carissa Yep. Yeah, most likely it's gonna be Huifan. And of course, I'm looking forward to playing against Huifan. Of course, it will be a very tense match, but an interesting one nevertheless. Last year, I lost in the first round against Harika Drenavali, so this year is already a little bit better. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. I will make sure to do recap when I'm done playing my next match. I'm not sure when it's gonna be. I will keep you posted, and I think we'll do the same thing as today. We'll just put the channel that's gonna commentate my match on host as a host channel, and you will be able to see it even here. Yes, Vaishali beat Bibisara. It also was a very tense match. Everything was decided in the, well, a lot. I mean, they had like something, the score was like 13 no, 12-11, I think. Predictions are hard to make, and I think I'm quite tired now to make any predictions. But again, I hope that you enjoyed this recap. I'm going to rest. Yes, Dirkji, Title Tuesday. Tomorrow's plan is to play one Title Tuesday, then go on a break, have dinner, and then before starting the late Title Tuesday, recording my recaps, because the fourth round of the candidates is gonna be played tomorrow, and I think we're all waiting for it, and we're very excited. Yeah, so 2 Title Tuesday and 2 recaps. I'm not sure if I'll manage to. It's gonna be difficult, so I need to rest a little bit. Yeah, I work hard, exactly. Pawn Mars Destroyer, I work hard, but I better go to bed now, because I feel that I'm about to fall asleep. And if you haven't checked out my videos that I posted today, by the way, did I change the command? I have to learn how to adjust the commands. There should be some quite. I've heard that there is a very easy way to adjust a command in the chat. I have a command that I'd like to adjust. And I hope that all of you can go and check it out, preparing for my Title Tuesday. So it's new video command. It's a new video. Yeah, I don't know why I did a new video. It's a new video. Yeah, maybe it should be the last video. Okay, guys. So make sure to check out this latest videos that I uploaded just minutes before the stream. Press like, please. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment, because it's very important for my YouTube channel for my YouTube videos to get more views. Dirkje, is it? You need to let me know how I should do it. But I think it will be better to discuss tomorrow. Okay, and meanwhile, let me send the rate. Let me send the rate while I'm going to bed. You can watch some other streams. And of course, thanks for watching. To Fiona. I'm going to send the rate to Fiona. We just saw each other on the French team championship. She was playing there and I was playing there, and she took a few nice photos of me and posted it, tagging me. So say hi to her, and yeah, I hope to see you all tomorrow. Tomorrow is gonna be a busy day. A busy day tomorrow. Okay, here we go. The rate is coming. Say hi to Fiona.